Hey guys, how's it going? Tong here. Today I have a video comparing two video game consoles, the new Nintendo 3DS and the PS Vita Slim. And I want to do this video because a lot of people are going to be cross-shopping these two because they're the two remaining dedicated portable video consoles out there. We all have the iPad and iPhone and Android phones and everything, but these are the two remaining dedicated video game consoles. And people are going to be comparing one versus the other. So I'm here to give you my opinion on these since I have both of these consoles. And I'm going to start by saying that both of these consoles are for different purposes, basically. It depends on what kind of games you want to play, and they both have their strengths and weaknesses. And I've reviewed the PS Vita in another video before, but to basically go over this console again, for those of you who haven't watched that video, the PlayStation Vita Slim, this one is quite a bit lighter. I think it's lighter and thinner than the new Nintendo 3DS, and they improved it on some parts because they made the charging port a micro USB port instead of a proprietary port, which is good. And this is really convenient because the new Nintendo 3DS has a proprietary charging port, and it doesn't come with an AC adapter at all, so you had to buy that separately, which is really annoying. But with the PS Vita, you can just take any standard micro USB charger and cable and use it. And I would say the PS Vita is better at playing like Japanese role-playing games or indie games, and for that it's pretty good, and it has a better screen in my opinion than the new Nintendo 3DS. It's the colors are really sharp, even though this is the LCD and not the OLED screen. The screen is still better than the new Nintendo 3DS. And I'll open this up so you can compare the size of the screen. If you can see the size of the screens, the PS Vita Slim, even though it has one screen versus the Nintendo DS's two screens, it has a wider display and it has a higher resolution. So the screen on the PS Vita is nicer, and the sound is also, I think, in my opinion, nicer too. It has two analog sticks, whereas with the new Nintendo 3DS, they have this little nub that they just put on there. This wasn't in the old 3DS, this is in the new Nintendo 3DS. They just put that nub, but it's still not the same as a double analog stick like the PS Vita has. So in terms of controls, screen, lightness, portability, I think the PS Vita has a beat. The PS Vita is better in those areas. And the main problem with the PS Vita is the strength of the Nintendo 3DS, which is the game support. So like I said, the PS Vita is really good for indie games and Japanese RPGs. That's a lot of that. I think I've showed some of them before. I mean, that's Disgaea, Dead or Alive, some of these other quirky Japanese games, Blast Blue, Final Fantasy, that's all in there. But the lack of support from the major video game companies is the problem. In a lot of these games that you can find here, you can also find on the iPhone and iPad and Android as well, which makes it less of a reason to get it, because these games are really exclusive, like Worms or Duke Nukem. Like a lot of these, Another World, like a lot of these games you can get on other consoles. It's not exclusive. Whereas with the new Nintendo 3DS, a lot of these games are really exclusive to this console, which is the main strength of this console. So basically, the new Nintendo 3DS, the downsides are the screen isn't as good or as wide as the PS Vita, and the charging port is proprietary. You look on the back, it's got this weird, it kind of looks like a mini USB, but it isn't a mini USB, and it's really weird. And it doesn't come with an adapter. You have to buy that separately. And it weighs quite a bit more. Well, not quite a bit more, sorry. It weighs a little bit more than the PS Vita Slim, and it is thicker too. You can see it's probably like twice the thickness of the PS Vita. But the main strength of the new Nintendo 3DS is the game support. And it has really good games, as you would expect of Nintendo. I have Story of Seasons, which is from Harvest Moon series, the Persona Q, which is the Persona series, Legend of Zelda, Pokemon, Mario, Codename Steam, which is really good, Fire Emblem, Monster Hunter, Xenoblade. Like a lot of these games can only be found on the Nintendo 3DS, which is the main reason to get it. Like the 3D thing is kind of a gimmick in my opinion. You can see I can turn it on and off. But yeah, I don't really use it much. I think it's kind of a gimmick. But the main reason why I have the 3DS is that it has these games that you can't find anywhere else. Like Fire Emblem is such a good game, and I can't find it on iPad, for example. I can't find it on Android. It's only on the Nintendo, which is the reason I would get the system. And I'm just going to show you a bit of Fire Emblem for people who haven't played this game. It is a really good game. And I love tactical role-playing games. And I used to play this and Final Fantasy Tactics and Advance Wars before, and it brings me back because I love playing tactical role-playing games. And you have all the cool animations and support with people and the great storylines and everything. So another advantage of the 3DS is, of course, the dual screens that the PS Vita doesn't have. Because it has dual screens, the bottom screen usually shows some like contextual stuff, like menus and stuff, and in this case, the status of your unit, whereas the top screen is the main gameplay screen. And yeah, this is Fire Emblem. It's Fire Emblem Awakening, in my opinion, pretty good game. It's tactical role-playing, but it has a lot of good storylines to it, and the characters are really developed in comparison to other strategy games where you pretty much don't care about the characters. They're just made out of some factory somewhere. But the characters are all like different in some way, so I like that. Press home button, and the other one I want to show, everyone's already seen like Mario Kart and Zelda and Pokemon, so I'm going to say Codename Steam because I think this game is also really cool. Codename Steam is also a tactical role-playing game, but it's done in the third person, which is really interesting because usually tactical role-playing games are done in overhead view, but in Codename Steam it's actually done in third person view, which is really cool. I'll show you how that looks like. Okay, so basically down here you can select between your characters, and in the top you see basically your characters, but they have like a movement to them. Like the bottom status is your movement steps basically. Instead of like Fire Emblem where you see the number of steps they can move, this one you have the Steam counter here, and if you run out then you can't move anymore. See, and it always tracks back to where you were starting. So you have a certain number of movement points, and you can use the little nub here to control the camera. And yeah, you can aim like that and then switch characters, and all these characters have different abilities. Like this one is a grenade launcher, and I'm actually restricted by my use of movement to how many times I can fire as well. So this is a different kind of tactical role-playing game, but it's pretty cool, and it uses some cool characters. Like I'm using Tom Sawyer right now, which has a little like punching gun. As you can see, I can just punch this guy. A lot of them are cool guns and techniques and character designs. So I like this game as well. So that's Codename Steam, and it just goes to show you that Nintendo has some pretty cool games that the PS Vita honestly cannot match, in my opinion. This is the main reason why out of these two, I actually like the Nintendo 3DS better, because even though the PS Vita has a great screen, has a great internal hardware, faster graphics, memory, better display, etc., the 3DS has it where it counts, which is the game support. And no one can match Nintendo for the first party titles. I think Nintendo has the best first party developers, and no one can compete with that. So that's why Nintendo 3DS wins out of this comparison, for me anyway. I mean, for other people, maybe you like Japanese RPGs, indie games, then okay, PS Vita is good. But for me, the Nintendo 3DS wins it because the quality of the games is so good. And you can find games that you can't find on any other system, like Mario and Pokemon and Zelda and Fire Emblem. So that's why, yeah, out of these two, the battery lives are similar. I get about 6 hours on each of them. And they're very different. The Vita has a touchpad at the back, and Nintendo 3DS has this little button here that's a second analog stick, but not many games use those features. The main attractive thing of the DS is the dual screens, and the 3D, but that's like a little gimmick thing. I don't really use the 3D, but it's there. Hardware wise, it's not that great, but anyway, the important thing is the gameplay, and that's why I like the Nintendo 3DS. This is the Monster Hunter edition, and it comes with Monster Hunter, which is a great game as well, which is also exclusive to Nintendo. And Sony used to have the support of Capcom, but I wish that the PS Vita, if the PS Vita had more developer support, it would be better. But yeah, which one do I recommend? I recommend you buy the PS Vita if you like Japanese RPGs or indie games or something like that. In all other cases, I recommend the Nintendo 3DS because the games are so good and they have such a wide developer support, and even though it's heavier and hardware isn't as good, but in the end, it's the games that matter. So yeah, let me know if you have any comments about this, but that's the PS Vita Slim versus the new Nintendo 3DS. That's it. And yeah, the new Nintendo 3DS, the main new improved thing about it is that they improved the 3D tracking. And I didn't explain that too much because I don't use 3D, but for those of you who 3D matters, then the new Nintendo 3DS has much better 3D than the old 3DS. So yeah, that's it.